And we're back. I know I keep putting out discussions because it's actually been a lot more fun and easier to do. I'm sorry, covers are great, but that takes a lot of practice. I mean, sitting in a room by myself over and over and over and over again for about an hour and a half, and then I'm ready to cry. Alright, so today we're actually going to be discussing a very near and dear topic for me, and I will get into why, but we're going to be talking about Star Wars, specifically the new trilogy. Specifically.
The Disney trilogy.
The Disney trilogy. Is that really what it is?
No, I call it the Disney trilogy. Because prequel trilogy, original trilogy, and I guess Disney trilogy. Unless it's like the Ray trilogy. I don't know.
I just call it the sequel trilogy.
Because technically it's the original, the prequel, the sequel. Okay, yeah. It gets confusing. It's a little confusing. Alright, so today, as you can see, there are new faces, but we're going to start down the line, as once again, I am joined by...
Oh, was it?
Cinemanny,
right?
I
might change it. I don't know. It's Cinemanny for now, but we'll see.
Wait, do I have to have a code name too?
If you want. I have one, he wanted one.
Okay.
So we have Cinemanny. Down the line is my husband, who will be naming himself.
Pretty sure my parents named me, but yeah, Charles.
Oh. I'm Austin.
And as always, I am Lily, or better, Lady Lily. However, no one really calls me that other than my grandfather. Which I learned he still does. Childhood nicknames, you know. So, like I said, we're going to be talking about Star Wars, which is really fun. Specifically for me, I've liked Star Wars since technically I was born. The story that my family loves to tell is that when my mother brought me home from the hospital, my dad let her go to sleep. I would not shut the heck up. So my dad, to drown out my screaming, put on Star Wars. But that once I heard the very opening score, I shut the heck up. I stopped crying, and I was still for the majority of the film. So that's where my love for Star Wars apparently came from.
I like it.
Alright, so we're going to be discussing, like I said, the new trilogy, or the Disney trilogy. And this is going to be a little different, since we have opposing sides. Me and Austin are more for, as opposed to Charles and Cinemanny, or Manny, who are more against. With points of things that they do like, obviously. So we're going to just...
It's all bad.
It's not all bad.
It's gonna end the opposite of the first experience. It's gonna be we saw the music end, and then I started crying.
Yeah, I torture my kids on Star Wars.
Okay, if you hear screaming in the background, once again, that is my children. They go everywhere with me. That's my life. So ignore the screaming back there. Alright, so we're gonna start. Everyone's gonna give their opinion on the film, and then we're just gonna start into our discussions. Alright,
So we're talking about Rise of Skywalker right now?
Yeah, so we're gonna talk mainly Rise of Skywalker, but we are going to discuss the entire trilogy. Alright, so let's start with Austin, since you're here.
Me? Okay. Well, I really like Rise of Skywalker. I like the characters. I like the whole thing with Ben and Rey. And one of the things that I liked most about the Rise of Skywalker was how Ben's story came full circle. I like how the entire trilogy he was trying to follow in the footsteps of his grandfather, Darth Vader, by, completing the Empire, bringing peace to the galaxy, by conquering. And the thing is, he ended up turning back to the light and sacrificing himself for someone that he loved. So in the end, he really did follow in his grandfather's footsteps, just not the way he originally intended.
No, we can't argue right now. Yeah.
No, this is not arguing it.
I don't want to.
I know, as you can tell, that itch is over there. Okay, Charles, you're next. Your opinion on the Rise of Skywalker specifically?
Rise of Skywalker?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe it was a huge letdown. I think if it wasn't for the nostalgia bait in it, I would have hated it a lot more. So I guess it just came to like a flat even where it's like I don't really care about it anymore, and I'm not gonna be hating it, but I don't know, they were pretty bad.
Okay, I'll go next. So me, I liked the film. There was a lot in it that I liked. Obviously, very few films can be like 100% perfect, I think. It's very rare that I will like something completely, except for Empire Strikes Back, but that's separate. But for me, I think my favorite thing, I did love Ben. I think he is the highlight of that film. Rey's conclusion, though somewhat to me is like medium, I do like her story. I do like where her story ends, where she wasn't, I was okay with her being no one, but at the same time, it didn't explain a lot. So I like that I got answers to questions I had that I didn't think I was gonna get. So that's my thing.
Can we cuss or no?
Yes, you can cuss. We keep doing it. At some point, I'm gonna cuss.
Okay.
I was like,
Right.
at some point, it's gonna happen.
All right. I don't know what to say without just saying that it was just a crap movie, but like you said, like without the nostalgia factor, it's just a garbage movie. I left it feeling empty. I felt like it ruined Star Wars as a whole for me. I'm just over Star Wars. If it wasn't for the Mandalorian, like the next day, which was like I think it was the finale, I would have like, I'm over Star Wars. If I were to explain what it is, at the beginning of the movie, I think Poe does something with the light speed. He does something with light speed, right? He does light speed
Jump.
light speed
Skipping.
jumping, right?
Skip,
We're light speed
skipping.
skipping. We're light speed skipping. That's the whole fucking movie right there. That's what I felt with the whole movie. The whole movie was light speed skipping throughout the whole movie. Something happens, and before you can think about it, we're like, hey, that doesn't make any fucking... Next scene. Next action scene. So that was the whole movie I felt. The whole movie was like, nostalgia. And it was just... I just left feeling that it just... They don't understand what they have. They don't understand the characters. They just... Here you go, rise of the fan base. Rise of the... I don't know, Reddit. Rise of what's it called when you appeal to a certain fan base? They can't fan service. Rise of fan service. That was the whole freaking movie for me. The rise of fan service.
All right. So as you can see, very strong opinions for both for and against, and then some little mild ones. I think me and Charles are gonna be more like the mediators on each side again. All right. So since we got our opening statements out of the way, we're just gonna kind of dive into our main points that we really loved about the film. And once we give that, they are going to rebuttal us, and then vice versa.
What are you asking? You're asking
Like the main point, the things that you think were the worst parts. Like this is why it killed it. These main three things, and then you're going to expand on them.
All right, Austin, tell us what you liked and what you didn't like about it. Let's do that. What you liked and didn't like. We know you like something. So tell us what you hate about it.
Gosh, I really wish I had rewatched the whole movie before.
All right, Palpatine. Did you like Palpatine in this movie?
Yes, I did. I really liked Palpatine.
Okay, so that is actually, I think, one of the more debated things. So, yeah, expand on why you liked Palpatine. You said you had like the reasons for and stuff.
So, okay, one of the huge points against Rise of Skywalker was...
1 second. So spoilers, complete and utter spoilers. I'm so sorry, I didn't say that earlier. I will flash it before in post.
The first time we see Palpatine, he's in a little hand claw, like those little things from Denny's.
Yeah, so one of the huge points against Rise of Skywalker was the fact that it ruined the prophecy. That Anakin Skywalker was supposed to be the seed of prophecy, and so if Rey was the one who killed Sidious, how is that fulfilling the prophecy? Because, like, she's not a Skywalker. So, the way that it works, and this was hinted at throughout the movie, theorized about, but it's finally confirmed with the novelization of the Rise of Skywalker, I guess, is coming out pretty soon. There's a screenshot taken in one of the pages, and here, I'll actually read it, because I took a photo of it. You can edit me, bring it up.
To add on to Austin's point, at one point in the movie had the balls to have the original Anakin Hayden Christensen, I think, where's his name? He tells freaking Rey at one point, bring balance to the Force, like I did. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit. He never balanced the Force.
I mean, but he did. He did.
And here...
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Numbers wise, he did.
So, the Emperor's eyes were filmed over with milky blindness, and vials punctured his neck. All the vials were empty of liquid save one, which was nearly depleted. And Kylo peered closer. He had seen this apparatus before, too, when he'd studied the Clone Wars as a boy. The liquid flowing into the living nightmare before him was fighting a losing battle to sustain the Emperor's putrid flesh. What could you give me? Kylo asked Emperor Palpatine after a fashion. And Emperor Palpatine lived after whatever it is. Okay. And Kylo could feel in his very bones that this clone body sheltered the Emperor's actual spirit, which was an imperfect vessel, though unable to contain his immense power. It couldn't hold much longer. And so Yeah, that confirms that Emperor Palpatine, the body that he resided in Rise of Skywalker, was a clone. And so, at first people are probably like, oh, well, that's just like a BS excuse. But the thing is, the entire time, Emperor Palpatine's thing with his old master was the fact that he could preserve those that he cared about, preserve other people, but he could not preserve himself. And so Palpatine set out to learn how to do that. And so, if you know that Palpatine was behind the whole Clone Wars and everything on both sides, then you know that he had to have been behind the clones too, reaching out to Kamino and trying to understand the cloning process. And he used their technology basically to try and preserve clones of himself so that his spirit could inhabit vessels throughout time. He originally wanted to try and find a way, and this is according to some extended lore, to stop the aging process, because the Kaminoans learned how to speed up the aging process in the clones, but he wanted to try and find a way to slow it down. And when he failed to do that, he just wanted to create clones that he could inhabit through essence transfer. And essence transfer is, if you know the Darth Bane series, it's a dark side ability to basically inhabit the body of another living being or a non-living being and live on that way. And so through this method, he would, when he died, inhabit one of his clones. And in Return of the Jedi, when Luke Skywalker...
Let him finish his point.
I wish I had
No, it's becoming a lecture. That's why I think it's funny. Sorry.
No, but
I wish I had I don't know, written notes to put this together so I can make it more flowy. But
okay, Return of the Jedi.
In Return of the Jedi, when Anakin Skywalker killed Palpatine, that was the fulfilling of the prophecy, because Palpatine's body, at least, was actually destroyed. Palpatine was dead, and he actually says in Rise of Skywalker, I have died once before. So Anakin was the one who fulfilled the prophecy, but through the Emperor's sheer power, he hung on to the living realm to inhabit one of those clones that he had set aside for himself in, what was the name of the planet again?
No.
Starts with an X.
Exegol or something.
Exegol.
I think Mexico.
Mexico.
The planet Mexico. So, the Sophia tint.
Okay, so basically the point we're getting to here is that since his original form died, and then this form is a clone, it doesn't take away what Anakin did.
Right, Anakin was the one who fulfilled the prophecy.
Yes, but as we all learn, there's always more prophecies.
That's a very good explanation, Austin. That perfectly sums up. The thing is, though, I think it's bullshit that you have to look outside the movie. It's like, if the movie doesn't make sense, well, you need to read the book. There's a lot of stuff that I feel cheapens the movie. I think, what's his name? Nine Nub, he's like the co-pilot for Lando. He's like the little alien. I don't know what he does exactly.
Wait, in which one? In The Rise of Skywalker? Or
he's in like almost since Return of the Jedi. He's always been Lando's like co-pilot. He's usually the little short alien with the big ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know he dies in this movie, right? He's like a major fan character. He dies in this movie. They don't show him dying, but again, outside of the things like, oh, by the way, he died. When Palpatine went, he killed him. So it's like, I don't...
It's a beam in the sky, we've come full circle!
Right? I don't like that. I don't like it when...
I like it.
And the freaking Fortnite thing, too. It's like, well, what was this message that Palpatine... Well, you play Fortnite, you hear it. No, that should have been in the movie. That's one of my main issues with this movie was, like, if they can't explain this movie, like, well, you need to read the books, but those books can be... doesn't have to be canon. The next movie can, like, say Palpatine was always Palpatine. Austin gave, like, a really good explanation, but that's not part of the movie, so I can't say, like, oh, it's canon, because they can always reverse it, as they've done before with the movies.
But they've said that from here on out, everything outside of the films was going to be canon. Everything before the original decision was made that wasn't the Clone Wars, the CGI-looking one, not the original Clone Wars series, because I remember that shit, and I loved it.
The Samurai Jack one.
Yeah, I loved those. but everything from here on is going to be canon. Everything all of that's from you material since the Force Awakens, or is it like before?
Well, not all of it. A lot of it was from legend that was confirmed to be canon through this new revelation of Palpatine's body in Rise of Skywalker actually was a clone. It actually brought to light a lot of things that were spoken of in legend, particularly Dark Empire, which was a legend comic series, which talks about Palpatine setting aside clones for himself.
Dash Rider.
And also the Darth Bane series that talks about essence transfer.
Okay. I feel like I've heard that name a lot before. I just always forget.
Darth Bane?
Yeah. I think from my brother.
And another point too is that when people want to talk about, oh well, if Palpatine had clones of himself, why weren't they younger clones? The thing is, they were younger clones, but as if you know about the Kaminoans close Kaminoan? I can't remember what their name.
The people on
The people
Camino.
on
The
Camino.
race.
The race,
All white
yeah.
people.
If you know about their culture and their process, they perfected the cloning process for sentient beings, except for when it came to Force users, because cloning Force users was more tricky because doing that went against the will of the Force, and so the midichlorians would try and bring a halt to the process. Sidious, through his sheer power, was able to inhabit these bodies, but the midichlorians would fight against him, rapidly increasing the aging process. And so that's why his clones would become basically as decrepit as he was when he would pass away, is because it was a inner struggle constantly to hang on to that life.
Okay.
In fear of extending this video even longer, I feel if they're going to do the clone thingy, I mean, they kind of hint at it, but I feel like to fix it, to pay homage to the original series, the clone that we see, or like whatever, the fucking guy in this movie, Rise of Skywalker, he should have been Darth Sidious. Like, that was always been Darth Sidious. And the freaking Palpatine we've seen that rise to the Senate, and the one that got thrown in, like, by Anakin and fucking
That
Death
was a
Star,
clone.
that was a clone. I would prefer that, because after the third movie, after Revenge, we kind of stopped thinking about Darth Sidious. So I think that would have been a good callback. Because like, where are you? I'm fucking Darth Sidious, bitch. Remember me? Like, he should have said something like that. I've always been alive, but my clone, like, he could have been. I guess he did that with freaking Snoke, right? Supposedly.
Yeah, and you see Snoke's clones in there along with his clone.
But I'm confused. I thought, what I thought, but going back to Revenge of the Sith. Sorry. Going back to Revenge of the Sith, I thought that they were hinting that Palpatine was the one who killed Darth Sidious.
No, that's
You mean Plagueis?
yeah.
Plagueis, sorry, Plagueis.
Palpatine was the one who killed Plagueis.
Yes, that was okay. Making sure that I had that right.
Darth Sidious was his Sith.
Sidious is Palpatine.
Okay.
But I think that would have been cool. It's like, I'm Darth Sidious.
Yeah, I'm getting
Palpatine was like my.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done. I learned this shit.
I know.
But that
Like a
doesn't.
fresher Snoke.
Yeah, something like that, because he controls Snoke too, right?
Yeah, and that would be cool, but the thing is that doesn't fix the prophecy issue, because Anakin was the one who killed the real Darth Sidious.
Is there something wrong with the phone? Is that what she's asking?
Well, Anakin didn't do that because he's still alive. Because there is still.
In spirit, yeah.
He's
like
still.
his,
He didn't bring
his
balance to
actual
the Force.
essence.
He didn't. That's what I didn't like about this movie. He didn't bring balance to the Force. He killed them, but apparently he's been living all this time, so he didn't bring balance to the Force. And that's why I don't get freaking his thing. In this movie is like, I need to kill my granddaughter. Sidious knows about the Force. He knows about the balance. That's why he doesn't upset it. That's why he knows fucking Yoda's alive. He knows Obi-Wan Kenobi's alive, but he doesn't like. We need to fucking convert all our resources to kill him. He knows that there needs to be a balance. That's why he didn't really go after them that much. I mean, he could have, but that's why when Luke and Leia came to the picture, like, okay, I can push out Vader and make it. He respects the balance. So this freaking Palpatine now is like, just kill them, and he knows it's going to make it an imbalance. He's killing off, the Last Jedi? So there's, 2 Sith Lords now? I don't know, it's like, that's why I feel like this movie didn't respect the lore. Like, it didn't respect Anakin making that sacrifice or bringing balance. And that's my opinion. Let's edit the shit out.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't respect The Last Jedi at all. Because at the end they hint that, there's other Force users. Like, she gave hope to people, and all of a sudden the Groom kids are like, yeah, I believe in it now. And it's okay, so that kind of messes up the whole balance thing. Well, the way I see it is sure, he brought balance to the Force, but I see it as number-wise, because all the users are going around and whatnot. So like,
There's always going to be force
Yeah.
users as long as.
so that he brought that balance, and also, to me, kind of explains why Rey was getting so strong. Was because like she had all these resources of the light side of the Force, but she was the only one hooked up to
Yeah,
it.
tapping into it.
So
the
she-
Wi-Fi was
Yeah,
strong.
so that's why the
She was
Sith became really
plugged
strong
directly
after the
in.
whole Bane thing.
She was plugged directly into the movie.
Yeah, like after the Sith Wars, like, you know, they introduced the rule that one
Rule
master,
two.
the rule 2. So that's why they're so strong, because, you know, they're the only ones tapping into this resource. It's also a cheap way to explain why Rey got so strong with zero training or shit training,
Yeah.
where she was just caught up to freaking Ben Solo, you know, like nothing. You know, to the point where he was beating him, but they kind of cheapened him where he got shot by Chewbacca.
They weakened
He
him
got
a little
injured.
before. They
But I
weakened
mean,
him.
that would just piss
He
him
got
off.
hit by a
He just,
freaking Wookiee
Well, he was
bow
weak.
caster.
Well, I think he was weak.
Not, you know.
yeah, but, you know, explains
He killed his
why,
dad. That's
you
why
know.
he's weak because he's
Yeah.
tearing and all that stuff. And he's like, I
Emotional
just, yeah,
violence.
he just basically like
Yeah.
busted
Yeah, there was
a nut.
always an internal conflict within him, so that was, you know, taken away from his strength too, I guess you would say.
And then his uncle shot him. Uncle Chewie shot him.
Abundant.
Yeah, I mean, to that, go to that, it was like, yeah, like, okay, so that's that balancing fraction of it. But then it doesn't make sense towards the end, okay, so there's no more good people, so I want you to strike me down. Since you're related to me, then it would just make it easier to take over.
Well, I thought it was weird though, right? Because like he wants her to kill him, right? Kill me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I need to kill you now. I don't understand. Like he wants her to kill him, but now he wants to kill her to get power.
It's because that's when
It
they
depends on-
accidentally force heal him. So he's all like, you know what? I don't need, you know, your genes basically. Because that's how I see it. Like, okay, you're my descendant, so that means we're compatible. So it makes So if I transfer into you,
Like a blood donor.
yeah, basically it's a fancy way of organ donor, body donor at this point.
I thought that the whole point of him wanting her to kill him originally was you have to be in a certain state of mind. Because you like it was always like you have to kill.
give in to
Yeah,
the dark
you
side
have
of
to
the
give
Force.
in to your anger and to all of that, and then strike him down. That has to be the reason you kill him. If
Yeah.
you kill him during a fight while you're trying to defend everyone else, that's separate. It's all the same thing.
I think it's more of a choice because at that moment she realizes it's wrong, but then she goes against like that teaching, that fundamental thing. She breaks kind of like that oath thing because it happened with Anakin. When he turned, he kills the Count Dooku, so he didn't have to strike down another Sith person as the level of, you know, Palpatine was or Sidious.
Because no, when he killed Count Dooku, I think that's like a step in the right direction.
Deterrence.
I mean, in the wrong
In the wrong
direction.
direction.
In the wrong direction.
And the-
But that wasn't the thing that turned him.
your card.
It was an opening.
But it's an
That's
opening,
sad.
and that's
Just
What's-
put it in your pocket, sweetheart.
yeah, it's an opening, and that's what Palpatine was looking for in Rey, because, no, like you said, she was the only light side user left, and so she had basically all of the Jedi working within her. And so if she were to abandon that light side of the Force and give in to that darkness, that anger, that revenge, then Palpatine would have seen the opportunity to transfer his essence into her. And
Control them both.
You've been a great Jedi.
Hello.
We don't talk about that. So I guess this timestamp is Palpatine, right? I think if we're going to timestamp, this whole timestamp was a Palpatine discussion. So like, what was his plan? So after he killed Rey, he's like, well, I gotta continue the rule too. I gotta find someone.
yeah,
I
I
mean-
mean, because there's always going to be more Force
Probably that
Force users.
broomstick kid, right?
Yeah,
That broomstick. If
broomstick
I was,
kid.
if I was that broomstick kid, I'd
Poor
be
child, I
pissed.
swear.
I'll be pissed because like we have fucking rebel forces come by and like I accept your plight and I understand what's going on, but fuck you, I'm freeing these animals. I mean, I'd be pissed too, right? I mean, that looks like a future Sith Lord right there.
Yeah.
They freed the animals, but not.
So basically, Rise of Skywalker was a battle as to see who gets the broom kid. Yeah, there you go.
Actually, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind if they had the little kid like dangling on a ladder, like a
Yeah,
fucking ladder
there
match.
you go.
Some-
Something like that. That would raise the stakes.
I mean, because they can sense them, right? That's how they would find them. They can sense like other Force users.
Pretty sure
That's
that
a thing, right?
Mandalorians-
It's not
Yeah,
a thing.
yeah.
I mean, they take them when they're babies, which I still would like addressed properly at some point of, you know, they take this 1-year-old from their family and, I mean, I can't imagine that every single parent is totally cool with that.
They put them in cages. That's it. Take them.
Speaking as someone of, you know, with children around those ages, it's like, you're taking my kid to do what?
I mean, you could just be like, okay, No problem.
Oh,
Oh,
you
that's-
will give me your
So
kid.
Palpatine's
Oh
like
my
an
God.
evil doctor.
So they're kidnapping
No,
children?
I don't think the
If
Jedi
they
would
kidnap
do
them to
that.
be slaves and build all their ships and everything, I'm pretty sure they don't give. If
Dude,
they're
But I mean, think about it. If you don't pass the Padawan test or whatever, the test to be a Jedi, they send you off to a farm. I'm just saying. There's some questions I have that I would like, logistic questions. I just like to understand.
I know Marvel's doing like a what if for their Marvel superheroes. That'd be awesome if they did one for Star Wars where at the end like Kylo and Palpatine are like the last one standing and like Palpatine's like some evil doctor, Professor X or something like that, and Kylo's like some Magneto and they recruit fucking Sith kids, whatever. That'd
Like
be
a
cool.
Hitler Youth type of thing.
I don't know, it'd be like going to the broomstick kid, like here you have a bit he's walking like that.
No.
back to the Sith initiative.
It makes sense. I mean, Kylo's perfect as Magneto, right? The Magneto type.
Alright, so I think my thing that I liked about Rise of Skywalker, aside, I did not mind Palpatine being in it. I remember watching the trailer and being like, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Like, it makes, I'm like, Snoke? I was gonna say Snoke.
Snooki.
Snoke is dead, so like, I mean, it's fine. It works for me. Then again, the problems I think that a lot of people are having is because you can tell us there was no thorough line. There was no mapped out trilogy. There was here's the first one, and then we'll just see what happens. The next one and the next one, instead of just creating them all together. Which, to George Lucas's credit, say what you want about the prequels, really say what you want, but he knew what he was doing. He had a whole arc story of 3 films, not just one and then prequels happened. That being said, I really enjoyed the way the films played out. I liked Last Jedi. I did. I do not understand a lot of the hate that it gets. Because it changed up the formula to something that was starting to get a little stale. Because as much as I loved Force Awakens, it was more of the same. It was A New Hope with a gloss and a girl. With a girl in basically they switched Luke and Leia, in my opinion. It was a good movie. But yes, it does bait a lot of the nostalgia out of you. Where the prequels were this experiment of CGI and technology and some questionable dialogue, which I think are its main bad parts. Because as a whole, I really enjoyed the prequels.
Yeah, I freaking love the prequels.
And I will say yes, Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, is the best part of them. But he's in most of it, so he's one of the main characters, so he would save it for me. But when we went into The Last Jedi, I did like the theme that it wasn't just one family messing with the universe. No. I did like because it was when they revealed that she's a no one or whatever. It's basically being it's not just the Skywalkers. There's other people too. Because for the most part, it really has just been the Skywalkers or Skywalkers or the Solos.
Well, according to this new trilogy, it's the Palpatine. It's not about the Skywalkers. I don't know why they call it fucking Rise of Skywalker. It's about Palpatine. The whole fucking 3 trilogies are about Palpatine.
I think it's because Ben. Ben is technically a Solo, but he embraces the Skywalker.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a Solo.
I don't understand.
My
Again,
daughters
going
have
on
on them
tangent.
they're not race.
But why do you take the name Solo? His dad doesn't fucking care about his name. His name was, remember, I don't have a last name. Solo. I mean, that's how he got the fucking name, right? He has no attachment to that. Whereas, Leia Organa, she has a fucking dad that's, well respected. Or Skywalker.
That's true. Her last name was
Organa or Skywalker, right? He's no, Ben Solo. I mean.
But
Okay.
there was the bloodline of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's so.
The name is just a name.
Yeah. So, I had a point I was getting to. Right, so, I liked that there was, in The Last Jedi, I did like a lot of the subversion to all the theories. Because sometimes fans are going to figure out your story, and when you subvert them, it's fun, but subversion for the sake of subversion is not always the best. However, I understand why the Rise of Skywalker felt they had to kind of patch things over and recon some things that they felt took away from the trilogy as a whole. Which does make sense. Because honestly, Last Jedi is a really good single film. But in the course of the trilogy, it really kind of takes away from the trilogy. Right? So so a lot of respect to the Rise of Skywalker that tried their best to patch over a lot of the things that were brought in by the Last Jedi that just it messed with the story. It did. So they tried to kind of know. Okay, so here's the explanation. Here's the explanation. So I liked that they that they did that. I enjoyed that they were able to kind of patch over things that just it didn't work for the story, and that's something that we need to, as fans, sometimes accept that the story is what's important, not what we want the story to be. So I think that this trilogy has had its ups and downs, but The Rise of Skywalker closed it out very well. Yes, half the movie is really patchwork, but the rest of it is just, it's a good end to a trilogy. Maybe not the entire saga, but definitely the trilogy.
I really like how it brought about the full circle, the whole Palpatine thing. And Palpatine's like, he could save others from death, but not himself. So that kind of brought a purpose to the whole trilogy, in my mind.
Yeah.
Well, to jump off of your thing about the prequels, right? I think I can't. Do you like the prequels?
Yeah, I prefer the prequels over the original.
Okay, let's not.
Yeah, that's all.
All right, but you know,
Say that on camera.
but the point, but he's not wrong because you know what? Because when we're growing up, those were our Star Wars. I mean,
Yes,
those were aimed for us. That's why
yes.
like, people are like, they're aimed for kids. Well, I mean, I was a kid when I saw it, so George Lucas, like you said, he knew what he was doing. He made the original trilogy. He kind of made it for kids, but like it kind of got darker, like the Harry Potter movies. But the original trilogy, like again, started off as kids, and then it kind of got darker. But this new trilogy, this Disney trilogy, they weren't aiming for kids. They were aiming for like, we're gonna make the fans happy, the fans that grew up. We're gonna appeal to the old school fans, which is dumb because you're excluding the new kids. You know what the new kids have? The little kids have nothing. I mean, they don't have as much of as an impact as the original trilogy did, where you have Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin, and the original trilogy. Did I say both? The prequel trilogy and the original trilogy. They also have a strong cast of characters. This new trilogy, aside from Ben and Rey, like no one stands out. They don't have as much as an impact. Finn, what's Finn's storyline? Finn's like, the first movie he was relevant, right? He was like, I rebelled, but they never followed up on it.
Yeah, and he was useful now because you know I know the base, I know where they're at, how they work and stuff like that, and then that was it.
They didn't know what to do with them. That's what my biggest issue too with the third one is, like when he meets John. I don't know what that girl's name, the one that's like the leader of the resistance, or like the
people with the horses.
Yeah, exactly. The people with the horse girl, right?
The escaped resistance.
I didn't want to say horse girl, so
The
I was like
horse
the people
girl,
with the
right?
horses.
My main issue with that was like there's this great scene where she talks to Finn, right? And the one thing I was waiting for was like, why did you do it? I was hoping she'd be like, because we heard of you. Because then Finn would have been the face of the resistance, and that would have been like some really powerful shit. But she goes, never heard something in the air, and he's like, that's the Force. So again, Finn takes himself out of the equation and has nothing to do with this new trilogy, except for freeing Poe from that base or whatever. So his character doesn't have much to do. Poe, I can't. What's his story arc?
It felt like they changed him up. Like, all of a sudden he was a smuggler too. Like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
He went from being the other one where he's the number one badass fighter pilot. Where was that at?
He was Superman.
Yeah, it was like the hero,
And you go with the books, right? The books say that his parents were both resistance fighters, and he was always like, when his mom died, I'm gonna do this. So they're going against what you said. They don't respect the books, or they don't respect the canon outside the books, because they never said he was a smuggler. They said like he was always in a resistance family. He was groomed for the army, kind of like that. And there's no one. We need to make. Well, Han Solo's dead, so we need someone to fill that part. Poe. That's why, like at the end, it was like one line, right? I have a pass. And I mean, it's a great line. It goes like, I'm a smuggler, and you're a former Nazi, and you're a fucking scavenger. It was a great line, but again, his character at the end of the trilogy, what's his character? He's not even the best fighter pilot anymore. I don't think he even got to shine in the last battle. I think the whole time he was just flying around, nothing really happened. So the only ones that stand out were Rey and Ben, and Ben's dead. So that's what the new generation has. This new generation has this house of cards that don't really. That's why, like, freaking the guy who played Finn, John Boyega, I think he's like, I'm not coming back. I'm not gonna Disney Plus me. Like, why would you? Because they have no stories left to tell. There's nothing left. That's what. Like you said, George Lucas had a little plan. This new trilogy just shadow over it because it really messes things up. That means like, if they're hindsight's 20/20, right, or parsecs 12/12, or whatever. But if they're gonna freaking change stuff like that, like it's not even the Skywalker trilogy. What they should have done hindsight's 2020. The first trilogy, the prequel trilogy, should have been about Obi-Wan Kenobi. It should have followed him like being a freaking Padawan, and then you see his journey, and then Anakin's kind of like the backdrop. The middle trilogy, the freaking original trilogy, follows Luke, and this new trilogy should have followed what, Rey?
I mean, it does follow Rey.
Yeah.
For the most
Ben
part.
and Ray pretty closely.
But she has more screen time than him.
Yeah.
So it follows her.
But Ben's more interesting.
Ben. No, yeah, Ben is more interesting. Like,
Yeah, Ben actually has reasons to be fighting for things. You know, they try to make it up like, oh, like she's gonna go find out who she is. But then they're like, oh, like it doesn't matter. They're, you know, shitty people who sold her off, like other scavengers, you know, unimportant people. And then, okay, so where's that gonna go? How are you gonna develop? Are you gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna make something of myself? But no, she still kept chasing that.
You're a Palpatine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You guys keep bringing, oh, I liked Palpatine, the whole thing. Like, I hated the whole Palpatine thing because we keep referring to him as Palpatine. Like, it would have been better if, you know, it was like, you know, the hell with it, it's Darth Sidious. You know, he's like this badass, you know, Darth Lord, Sith Lord, you know, who's on the Sith home planet of Exegol. But no, we were referring to him, you know, as Palpatine. On a little hook machine and...
It doesn't sound cool. Palpatine did this.
Yeah, like, you know, he's...
Darth Sidious.
Well,
yeah, it would have
Palpatine,
been...
Darth Sidious.
I think we just know the
The
name
same.
Palpatine more than we do Darth
Yeah,
Sidious.
like-
I think it's more recognizable
Sounds
to
like
the fans.
Take your Palpatine.
Because like I said, not a lot of people remember or like can put together like, oh, he's Darth Sidious. We just all call him the Emperor or Palpatine.
See, but then they would have done better fan service in respect to the lore of like bringing that stuff back.
Like,
Whereas like they didn't, they occasionally threw in some people and they were like, for example, Lando this movie. Now we're talking about Lando now, I guess. But Lando, right? Everyone's like, Lando. He wasn't needed in this movie.
That one I do think was, I will give it that. That one was. It was
Lando should have been in the previous movie. He should have been the Last Jedi as Maz Kanata's like, I don't know, spy or whatever. Because then he's my lover, right? Instead of, I don't know who they got, Justin Thorax or I don't know what his name is. But freaking Lando should have been in the Last Jedi as the inside man on that casino planet. That's why I feel. He wasn't needed in this movie. I can't remember what he did in this movie.
He was the last original member, aside from Chewbacca.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, what? He was in the other ones? We know him. He's a rebelling hero also. So, you know, let's follow him.
I brought everyone back to the final battle.
Yeah. And that's why they made such a huge issue in the beginning intro with the whole the whole light skip thingy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, we went to all these places so fast. It was just a really long, terrible setup. That, you know what, Lando's gonna do it later on and better. He's gonna go recruit. And then you know they did the whole portals thing where they all showed up.
Yeah.
And then they didn't show us.
The planet that was so hard to reach.
They could have had, you know, Poe shining as #1
That's what I
ace
felt like.
pilot going around.
We're having trouble here. That's what he
Yeah.
was doing the whole time.
Yeah, I just recall that when he shows up and then when they get electrocuted and he's falling down. That's what I recall from Poe doing. You know, #1 pilot.
And being butthurt all the time about secrets or something like that. You guys are talking about it? He didn't have anything.
He liked Rey. I wondered.
Oh?
Yeah, just it's because you know. Okay, the thing with Finn having that thing to tell her, I don't believe originally in the original. And when he wrote the first draft of the script, where he's like, "There's like something I have to tell you," and then he kind of goes down. I don't think it had anything to do with him being force sensitive.
Well, again.
I honestly do not believe that for a second. I think that was changed in post or like later on, like during reshoots, and then they just kind of forgot that he said that because in reality, that's not something that you're gonna yell at as you're dying.
Of course,
I'm sorry,
that's
it's not something. I do think it has something to do because they allude very heavily in the first and second that he has feelings for her. So it just, I would have preferred for them to just keep that run, like just keep it.
If you follow the books, but the books, like I said, they're not reliable because they can.
Yeah, they can just say, you know what, people hated this, so let's go back and fix it. Like, I get if you're gonna retcon something, you know, sometimes it is amazing because it, you know, you fix the whole whatever and it turned out way better. For example, Rogue One, when it was basically the retcon, the whole why it was so easy to get rid of that Death Star. Like, really, of that shaft? Okay.
Did it as a fuck you to the Empire.
Yeah, then you go back and then you find out why it was so easy. You know, the father did it as, you know, a fell switch to it, and then it was an amazing movie.
That was a great retcon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which comes to her, I guess. Well, the whole movie was literally about, it goes like a one-line many rebels died to bring us this information. That's literally that's.
Many Bothans died, so Rogue 2. We can't wait for Poker. They show the Bothans.
Two electric.
But I can't remember Lando. Even at the end, I think his arc was going with Jana. I think her name was Jana. Let me check. Jana, the horse girl, right? Yeah. They kind of imply like, I lost a daughter, I lost a dad, and they kind of like.
I think after the fact, they recut for the fans to confirm that it was his daughter.
Yeah, again, if you read outside, wasn't stated in the movie. Yeah. Outside the movie.
And there's only like 3 black people in this movie.
Right? The whole universe. He's looking at her like, yeah, no, he's like.
I'm surprised he didn't question Finn either. Like,
anyway, the way he's looking at her, you know she's calling daddy by the end of the night. You know what I mean?
Oh, God.
I don't know what they're going to do.
One way or another.
That's why, again, with the original trilogy, with what's it called, Return of the Jedi, you have a sister. Leia? That's the only fucking woman in the whole fucking original trilogy. I can't think of another one. So it's like, how did you know? There's only one girl in the fucking trilogy, and it's like, you have a sister. Oh, the only girl that's here? I can't think of another woman in the original Star Wars trilogy. Not the mom, the one that fucking tells them about the Bothans.
The aunt.
There you go.
I'm trying to think now. No, you're right.
So it's like, it's not a big old thing. It's like, you have a sister, Leia. Not a big surprise when there's only one other person there, you know what I mean?
Okay, I feel like we got a little off topic.
You know what?
I've been following, but I'm like, I'm lost now.
Just like the writers.
Right?
I know, I like the, I honestly like it when we kind of just talk.
You can cut them out and make them their own videos, so.
Yeah, it's like a discussion.
Palpatine.
Yeah, we can just go back and write.
Lando.
No. Okay.
Let's talk about Rose now.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, there has to be something that you guys are like, yes, this worked. Has to be something.
Ben's character was probably what worked. Because he was carrying this whole thing on his back.
I know his back must be hurting.
He was like one of the few that actually had a development towards that. He had a great backstory. You know, the training got, betrayed. You know, he has a reason to hate where he goes. And then the second one. Okay, so he completed his turn. You know, he killed his father. You know, there's nothing, no bailing out of that. And then they just...
Didn't kill his mom, though. Didn't kill his mom. He's like, my mom was born.
Yeah, I mean, he had the shot, but, he didn't take it.
Maybe if you kill one parent, I imagine it must be difficult to even contemplate doing
it. But, like, even then, like, I felt like they weakened him a lot. Just to make it more fair for Rey.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he got hit hard. He got shot. Pretty sure he got stabbed. And that's when the Force...
Stubbed his toe.
Yeah, he
falling out.
He took a hitting for this. Just so they can, cripple him.
And his training wasn't complete to begin with. Like Snoke said at the end of the first one, it's time to complete his training.
I mean,
but Luke never finished his training either.
So yeah. But, there was more.
They ruined his character in Rise of Skywalker. I can't even say he's the best part of Rise of Skywalker because they ruined his character so much.
That ending, man, where he was like,
I again think that they brought him full circle.
No, I genuinely agree.
Yeah, sure, they brought him full circle, but it didn't pay off. They just ended his character. Nothing was from it. He saved Rey.
Yeah, like,
and then what? Like,
I didn't think of anything.
Like,
what did he do? Nothing.
Yeah, because Rey already at that point Rey defeated Palpatine. Or
he followed in the footsteps of his grandfather. I think that was him going full circle.
No, because his grandfather didn't freaking
He didn't die as Sith. That's what it was. He didn't die as Sith.
He did it for the Punani. He did it for his son, and he's like, I love my son.
He became one with the Force.
I love my son that I never met. This one's like, I did it for the Punani. I don't know what Star Wars terminology to use.
Okay, well,
that's the thing. I think it would have been better if just Rey was the one that died, because then that ends the Palpatine thing. Like, oh yeah. You're naturally attracted to the dark side after all that shit. So she can turn. Or what if she has kids? Is she gonna worry about all that attachment to the dark side?
I would prefer if she turned and Kylo was like the one that turned the light.
Yeah, I think it was just.
You wanted them to Daenerys her? Seriously?
No, I think it would have been better where it's like it would have.
Or she turns and then he kills her. You wanted them to Daenerys her? I'm sorry, I'm never getting over that.
No, like she should have struck him down, Palpatine, and then it would have started that reaction in her where she's going evil, and then he shows up now good, which kind of makes her recall and stuff, and that's when she kind of lets herself be killed. Some kind of self-sacrifice, by the hands of Ben.
Okay. That would be
And then
cool.
he would stay.
That would be
But,
very
you know,
cool.
that's a bunch of what is, but we got what we got.
I'm
Him
surprised that.
dying, like,
And that also
No.
would have put to rest the whole prophecy thing, because if you say Sidious transferred himself into Rey, then Ben is the one who killed Sidious' spirit and all.
Once again, the Skywalkers are who
And that's
saved the
like-
day.
yeah,
Fuck it
and-
up for the most of the trilogy, and then all of a sudden they save the day.
It's like, you know what? He hasn't done anything bad either, except for killing his dad, because, like, the whole Jedi temple thing, like, supposedly he set on fire. Supposedly it was Palpatine. If you read the books, if you read the fucking lore outside, Palpatine shot a fucking wherever he's from planet Exegol, he shot a fucking lightning bolt and caused the whole thing to go fire. So, all that stuff, younglings, that wasn't him. So I was like, I wouldn't have been surprised if they show a flashback of the whole scene, like, I don't want the Strict to do it. And they show, like, freaking Han Solo, like, lighting a lightsaber and killing himself, kind of like that. I'm surprised they didn't do that, the way they were trying to redeem freaking Kylo Ren in this movie.
but they should
Okay, so then I have a question for you guys, because this is the point that this is one of the things where I was like, this is where I'm completely against this decision of mine, or not mine, of theirs. Him kissing her and then dying. Because I genuinely believe they should have had one or the other. If he was going to die, he should not have kissed her. If he was going to live, he should have kissed her. I do not like that it was like.
Should have kissed her
I
either.
kind of disagree.
Okay.
Like, I think if he would have kissed her and then he lived, like, and became a love interest, it would have been more cheesy than him kissing her and dying.
They shouldn't have kissed.
I just feel like they
Yeah,
shouldn't have
there's no
kissed.
kiss.
Like
Okay.
there was
Kiss.
like I remember being in the theater and be like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like it. And I was like, yeah, you haven't. But you're dead. What? Why? Then why?
Well, again, and that just brought him full circle, like he followed in the footsteps of his grandfather. But I kind of saw the kiss coming because of the force bond that was between them. The only time
Oh,
you
yeah,
ever
that-
see
that-
another
Force bond, that's what they
force
call
bond between.
That's
The
what they
only-
call it. They call it the Force Bond.
It's a Star Wars Legends thing. The only time you ever see.
Sorry, but the thing with the Force Bond is like really dumb. Is like it would have made more sense if they would have bonded with each other. Like, oh, you know what, we fought, we connected, and we somehow our force, whatever, flow connected. But no, it turns out it was put there on purpose by
Palpatine.
It wasn't born of them.
It is.
It
They should've
wasn't.
used
Yeah, it wasn't like a truthful, honest thing they had together. It was put there.
Just
It
like,
was put there, but it doesn't mean it wasn't real.
no, it's kind of like when you make someone go on a blind date. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
But then
There you
No,
go.
they could teleport too
There
through
you go,
that bond,
guys.
which is kind of like.
Yeah. But see, again, that's to me that was done very well. The whole like you can pull things out of out through the force. How she like drops the lightsabers and
Yeah.
Ben
So
catches it.
portals.
That actually was kept from Last Jedi because they
The
started.
dice, right? The dice? But the dice
Yes.
was fake. Because Kylo.
Yeah, it goes.
Yeah, so it wasn't real.
But it was starting though. It was starting. Because they're able to
The
see.
dice are fake.
Because remember, at first I'm only able to see the person, and then they're able to see the area,
So-
and then they were able to break or take from the area.
Yeah.
And even though like it fell apart, it's kind of like
I mean, and in Last Jedi too. Remember, like when his hand was wet after the.
yeah, exactly. So there was
he
this
was
kind
in
of
the
like
rain.
portals, if you want to call it, like portal thing that was happening. Then they finished that whole thing in Rise of Skywalker when you were able to physically pass things through the Force. So it was set up in Last Jedi and then finished or full circle.
I think it was okay in Last Jedi. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But then it's like you can pass notes to each other. You can, I don't know, what's stopping them from teleporting through each other? Like, why don't these fucking Freddy Krueger and I don't know. It's,
I think that maybe where it was going to head if they were
that's
kept
too
that.
much. That's like too Dragon Ball Z. to my opinion.
Transmission. Yeah.
But I mean, the Force, it doesn't have it has rules, but they're not that clear. So there's a lot that can be done. It's magic, people. You can do anything you want with it.
No, it's not magic. It's a living being.
Yeah, there
It's
you
a
go.
force.
Yeah.
It's a midichlorian.
It's like it's a will.
Because before we saw the prequels, we knew nothing about the midichlorians. We just thought the Force was something anyone could tap into, and then all of a sudden we get this thing like, oh yes, but if you have a lot of midichlorians in your system, then you have a stronger ability to tap into the Force. So, like I said, there's ways to like mess with that lore.
Okay, so that brings us to my first point that I want to bring up. What I hated the most about Skywalker saga, the Rise of Skywalker, is that they were introducing so many like force abilities, force techniques that went nowhere. Like, you know, I get it in the original trilogy, you know, they didn't have the tech they have now. They were limited to the times, but there's no real excuse where they were at now. You know, we're all still waiting for that amazing lightsaber fights, you know, with the force abilities going off.
Yeah, there was no
moving
memorable
everything.
fights.
Yeah, like the
That was one
prequels.
thing I wish they would have had.
The prequels kind of did it a little when you had Dooku dropping the stuff down.
Palpatine was.
Yeah, swinging in the Senate room, and this one didn't have any of that other than like, you know, force jumping.
At
A
the
lot
same
of people
time,
complain
Because
about
it showed in the Last Jedi when he moved it. So
Yeah.
oh, sweet.
see, I really wanted something like that, but at the same time, I understood that it couldn't really happen because the only two Force users they had in the whole thing were inexperienced fighters. It was Ren and
But at the same
Ben and
time,
Ren.
Kylo was able to stop a blaster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
okay, the Force. Yeah, but he was really strong in the Force. But as
But
far
they
as the
had-
whole prequel status
there was no
lightsaber fight,
technique
There
to
was
their
no- yeah.
to their fighting. Whilst there was like they took lessons, people. They took dance
Yeah,
lessons
but
with
at the
their
same
choice.
time, they
Dancing
grew
lessons.
up hearing
Game
all
of
these,
Thrones
you know,
references.
Yeah.
stories and legends. You know, they're tapping into all this stuff. It's like if I found out I have powers right now, like I'll try everything. You know, like hey, let's see how far I can push this.
You
Ray
Shazam
did the
it.
little the thunder.
Yeah. You know, she was lifting rocks. I was like, okay, so she's my like use the environment. to,
But
like,
maybe Ben wasn't because Luke was the one that taught them, and they didn't have like a style. Like they even talk about how in the original trilogy, you didn't have like skilled lightsaber fights because you just had decrepit old men and inexperienced boys fighting. Whilst in the prequels, you have like in their prime, seasoned, trained Jedi and Jedi Masters. Which say what you want about the freaking prequels, but the lightsaber fights were amazing, and
Lightsaber fights in Ewan
they
McGregor.
were amazing. And I'm sorry that like if people were saying like, oh, they're too choreographed. It's like, well, if you're skilled, they're trained by the same people. Like, yes, of course it would be like that. It would be very, you know, like a dance.
But in this one, you're saying, oh, they're both unskilled, untrained, but that would have just made it better, because it would just mean them going off even more, because they're gonna attempt, you know what, let me just fling whatever I can. You know, like there's no holding back, so it would have just been more destruction on that part. Because it's the Force. The Force doesn't care about your age. You know, when Luke questioned, oh, like, are you gonna be able to take that ship out? And it's like, and then Yoda tells him, you know, the Force does not care about your size or how big you are. It's the Force that's doing
That's
it.
how you use it.
Yeah. So, and then they hinted at the other, you know, when he's fighting, you know, Ben, Kylo at the time, the first time around. You know, you keep feeling like, oh, trust in the Force. The Force will guide your movements and stuff like that. And she let go. And she keeps up with him, you know what I mean?
Well, she lets go and goes like, you went to the dark side super quick.
He's like, you went straight there.
No, but I mean like when she's fighting, you know, Kylo.
Yeah.
You know, where she's trying to be like, oh, I'm going to start wielding it a certain way.
Like
but
Palpatine.
But when she had the Force guide her during the fight, you know, she got better. She started moving better to the point where she was like overtaking him until, you know, the thing split. I mean, if you want to go with the Force, you know, the Force, give it.
Force take it over.
The biggest.
Because they hint like, oh, all the knowledge of the past people are in the Force. Because you see it at the end when they call to her and whatnot, and she powers up. So,
Only Qui-Gon knew how to do that.
I mean,
but
would it really
guess
have, would it have been so expensive to have all the actors just there? I mean, I don't think it would have. I don't think he.
But they had the shadow people, right? The shadow people for
I don't think he
the
can
Sith
charge that
people.
much right now. He got no work.
So the shadow people, were they Sith, former Sith ghosts?
They were apparitions.
I think they're like
So why is it
cultists?
Okay, all right. So my question to you, Austin, because you know a lot more than I do. You care more than I do. If they're ghosts or apparitions, then why did when everything's falling apart, they're like, ah, they freaking scattered?
I think they're just soul cultists.
It's-
Maybe, I feel like they're people because then who's in the ships?
How are they
Isn't
surviving?
it the same people that were doing the little clone machines?
Yeah, like they had employees and people
well,
that had been trained to do
according
that.
to the
Again, cloning.
according to the
process.
book, it's the native peoples in the world.
They should have been clones. They should have been clones. Remember the
Probably
old?
they were.
Remember the
Like,
old
in the-
robots from like back in the day, the freaking separatists? Like,
Yeah.
bring them back. Or
Nah.
a bunch-
Roger.
The people
Roger.
manning all the ships and stuff in Exegol were also clones. The result of that whole cloning process
Yeah.
perfected.
So there's no.
No, it's It's the home residence of Xenopal.
It's a death planet. There's like nothing living
Well,
there.
that's
So how are they surviving? Yeah, they're
That's how
like
they live. Yeah.
they eat each other.
Magic. I'm sorry.
They want to use the magic to save them from the falling rocks.
Magic can have as many rules as you want it to, or none. And the Force is a type of magic that has more rules.
So it doesn't matter if you're trained or not. The Force will guide you. You know, they hint at
The
it.
writers
They mention
will guide
it.
you.
Yeah, they mention at it. You know, all that knowledge and everything is there of the previous people.
The biggest crime this movie had was like they stressed it so many times. Where Kyle was like, next time I take my hand out, or I extend my hand to go take it. I'm like, this bitch is gonna lose his hand.
Nobody lost their hand.
I don't know. Like I was like, he kept on saying it. Like next time I extend my hand, you're gonna take it. I'm like, oh, you're gonna cut off that hand. Just like every fucking
every other.
I was like, they should have done it. I feel like that would have been great. They set it up again, subverting the expectations. But he said it like 3 times. Like when I extend my hand, you'll take it. There's one scene when he does that. She should have cut his fucking hand off, and then like. I mean, there was a part where like the freaking like spaceship was like, and he's using the Force to hold himself still. I mean, that was a cool movie.
Wait, which part?
Where I guess when the ship was taking off.
Yeah,
and,
when
like,
they're escaping.
yeah, and he's like using the Force to hold himself still. And that was kind of.
Yeah.
That's a Force ability.
I did like the kind of tug of war thing they did. I really liked how. Because I think we all knew that Ben was strong. It was already implied to us because we already knew he was a Skywalker. You don't need to tell the audience that's watching these movies much other than the fact he's a Skywalker, so yeah, he's strong. Yeah, he's going to be good at it. Whilst Rey, you watch her grow into the strength, you do get to see like, because again, for the first 2 films, we don't know who she is, like where she comes from.
And I was like, she's a Kenobi. She's Luke's like last bastard daughter. I forgot what else at the time they were saying. But,
Thank God they didn't do brother sister thing. God,
Twins and
that was. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
that was like so. I mean, there's a reason. I thought like there's a reason Solo and Leia aren't together. She like one of. It's just weird. It seemed like Solo knew her parentage because like it was like in the first with Force Awakens, he kind of looks at her like that, like he knows something. Like
Yeah. Who was it though that knew about Rey's bloodline, the Palpatine thing?
nobody knew about it.
I think they said somebody in Rise of Skywalker. They said Leia.
Yeah, just the other.
Leia or I think Leia. They said Leia knew.
Did Leia sensed it or something?
Leia or Skywalker.
That sounds lazy, right? But
Yeah.
he meant before the video went out. I don't know if
Before it cut.
Yeah, he was mentioning something interesting about like because we're talking about like how it looks like freaking Han Solo knew something about Rey, especially where planet she came from, and she's like, I don't know what my parents are. And he was mentioning it before it got cut off. So.
Yeah, it was the part where like it would have made more sense if if Solo would have been the person that helped her parents escape. I mean, they got caught, but because he's #1 smuggler, and like if it was him that helped her and her family initially escape, that would mean that he would have some kind of idea of who she was, because that would mean like it would explain why she took a liking to her, because she grew up alone, and yes, so she didn't become that nature of the Palpatine bloodline. So that's why, like, oh yeah, I like you. There's something in you, because isn't that what he says? There's something.
You'll find out in 2 movies that they're the same because they're both orphans, right?
Yeah, and then it also explained the attachment of Leia, because hey, I did a job or this happened, and Leia knew, or like, because I mean, why is she so attached to her? Just because she happens to be a Force user? Like, that's kind of.
Maybe Leia's just a good person and sees someone that needs a mom.
I mean, Poe was a better person at this point.
It explains why the Falcon was there at Jakku.
Apparently Poe was
Yeah.
a hoe.
Remember, it was there. They
Yeah,
really
it was
explained.
there.
I lost it in the card game, and that person lost it in Jakku.
And it just happened to be a coincidence. I mean, the galaxy is huge. We could explain that when we left.
It's
there.
the will of the
Galaxy,
Force.
That's something I always want to address. What is the actual size of this particular universe? This galaxy.
It's like it's far, far away. So
Yeah.
nice.
I mean,
Long.
he's wanted a 9th system.
Yeah, right. That's
So
what I'm thinking right now. The systems. Oh,
Yeah.
just nice.
The solar system.
So maybe there's 10 because he would have seen all the systems. So like there are at least 10 systems.
Alright, so
So we talked about Rey. Oh, I guess one more thing about Rey. Like everyone was fucking obsessed with her last name. My name's Rey. What's your last name? Everyone's fucking nosy in this fucking movie. Like, Chewbacca. What's your name? Chewbacca. What's your last name? They don't fucking ask Chewbacca's last name, or
He has one too.
he does have a last name, but they don't ask.
He has a last name?
Yeah, he has a family. He has a clan.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
close.
wow.
Yeah, he has a wife and child.
That's true. He has a family.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
does nobody be like neglectful
grandfather wants
father
his
over
corn.
here?
Or you
At this point, we are all just
So,
talking.
right?
Yeah.
So again, to finish up the right thought, it's like at the end, right? It's like they ask her, like, because they build up the whole movie, what's your last name? Sky. They should have had fucking Watto. Watto should have been, hey! That's what I think the movie was missing. I don't know, they have a fucking homeless lady.
What is she doing out there? Like,
What are you doing? First of all, the house should be burned, right?
The
Should be burned
Luke's-
down. Yeah. They didn't really.
Why did she go there?
yeah, why is she out there? It was pretty far for her to be.
So, like the house itself, the structure wasn't.
It was
there.
like the sand had taken it because you see it inside and like the sand had taken most of the bottom.
Should have been Watto, is what I'm saying. Watto should have been like, hey, what are you doing?
I would have said it with Jar Jar Binks.
He was an old man when Anakin was young.
Yeah, I don't think
So-
he's
but-
alive.
I mean, Yoda could live hundreds of years,
Yeah,
okay.
you don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And
it's the
apparently
species, I
because
guess,
because they grow very slow.
It's like, Watto needs
Yoda.
love. Hashtag bring back Watto.
Okay.
What I liked about this movie?
no, what you hated about it.
I mean, I thought I've been talking about what I hate about this
No,
movie.
yeah. What did you like, Randy?
Let me see, the score, no, I didn't like the score in this movie. The score was like super weak. I can't think of one track that really stuck out for me. It was all like a bunch of motifs and stuff like that.
It was 10-second segment where they do the duel. They didn't show the face. They
Yeah.
teased it in the trailer.
I know
Wasn't in
the
it.
trailers had better music. They had like Duel of Fates
Yeah.
mixed with the Empire theme. There was a
Yeah.
bunch of like
I can play you with
I really liked the trailer for Rise of Skywalker. The way that
Original
they arranged, yeah, the original theme.
that would have been cool. There's a whole bunch of stuff where like this whole movie was like they should have done this, they should have done this, they should have done this. Like that last battle with Lando. It should not have been Lando to rally the fucking group. They just need a black guy to say like on your left. They should have had honestly what would have made the movie better. We don't see Kylo. If Kylo was the one fucking driving the fucking Millennium Falcon, like you see Chewie there, he goes move over and he drives. Everyone knows he's a good pilot. He should have been the one leading the fucking charge
It's not-
2 nights ago.
But who would
Because
have followed him?
But it's not just that. Like,
but you're gonna fucking follow Lando? Lando?
but
over
that's-
the evil, the bad guy,
that's the thing.
yeah.
That's,
I will follow.
but that's the thing.
Lando
That's
was
not it.
one of the.
Well, hold on, sorry. It's like, it's just coming right now. But what happened to the rest of the First Order? Because they show a lot of First Order having a lot of second thoughts about what they were doing. Like, is this the right thing we're doing? Is this the right thing? You know, like with Hawks. He had a dumb reason to do it. And he got what he deserved. And other than that,
No,
that
I
crazy
liked-
guy that spoke to Palpatine, like, because they showed a lot of, like, deserters, you know, people
Yeah.
trained, like the black chick with the
But
horses.
they were all on the same page at the end.
Yeah, like at the end. So it would have been better if, you know what, if Ben showed up with the First Order, who he has
That's
the
true.
ships, he has, you know, the weapons and whatnot. Because they kind of showed it where they were undecided on that
Yeah.
thing. Like, are we doing it for the better or are we not?
That would have been a
And then-
huge better.
Because, I mean, the First Order is still there.
Yeah.
Like, so what's going to happen? They just got force blasted.
I'm gonna sit this one out.
Yeah.
It's like, so this is no longer my fight?
But I think that would have been a lot better, right? If he was, because why are you gonna fucking listen to Lando? Leia couldn't rally the fucking people. Why are you gonna listen to Lando? Hey. Kylo would have been better because you got that. He's flying the fucking Falcon. Cool moment. He was like move Chewie, or so. That would have been really cool. Leading the fight. Plus explains why the fuck all the people are there. Supposedly it's really hard. This planet is super hard to get into, right? They need a fucking wayfinder or the fucking holocron, but they don't call it holocron. They fucking Lando knows the way. I just think it would have been a bigger, impactful moment if it was Kylo on your left, whatever. Because, like, again, and the First Order. That would have been really cool. Like, the bad guys. Who doesn't like a team up against a bigger
That
threat?
way, you not. I mean, they're gonna lose members, so it would have
Yeah.
been a way to like disarm the First Order.
Yeah.
If anything happened. You know, that get rid of that weaponry, leave it behind, and just take the people out.
Because no one major died in this movie except for Kylo.
Yeah.
Because except for Nub 9 or 9 Nub, sorry, but he's killed off screen. Because
Yeah,
they didn't
just
kill
screw
him. Who cares about him, right? No one major died in this movie except for Leia, and even that was kind of lame too. Like she should have been like, I can't reach him, but maybe someone else can. And then she brought like Han back, and that's how she died. It just seemed weird, like, bang, and then she died. I just thought it was really weak. I feel like they should have like, she summoned her power to summon her dad. Or sorry, his dad.
Oh, by the way, I really love that they show Luke and Leia training with Last scene.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I really like that flashback. That was fun. That was her daughter. I think that one was cute.
Yeah,
They had her
the
daughter.
cute
She was
guy.
like, the scenes.
Yeah. I think that was cool.
She was like-
Leia sucked in this movie. I'm gonna say it.
Well, they didn't have much. Okay, that I don't
They
think
had-
that wasn't their fault. I'm
Yeah.
They
sorry.
should have killed her
that,
on screen.
That just wasn't their fault. It was more of a they only had a few scenes that were like extra scenes that they shot to
Yeah.
kind of blend in, and because they didn't want to like overdo it with the CGI face
They have to
thing.
build dialogue around these old things,
Yeah.
which is really weird. I mean, they kill off Nine Nub right off screen. They can't kill off. I would have.
They can't kill Leia off screen.
They should have killed her off screen or something like
I
that.
don't think
Because
they
like
could do that.
they should have shown Palpatine talking in the
See
beginning
a
because
little
this is like
gremlin.
the dead speak. They should have been like Palpatine like says something like "I'm back, bitches," and then he blows up a planet with Leia. There you go. That's what they should have done. He's in war.
Oh, yeah, Lando's over here.
Oh, Lando's. That's
Yeah,
like
he probably went and got all his kids from where you're.
exactly. Hey kids.
Oh shit, Dad's calling us.
But I actually really like that scene. I really liked that whole scene in that the planet where they're trying to fix C-3PO or try to break that whole thing. Couldn't you have written it down?
Then again, it shows how strong a grip the First Order had on certain places.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're still there. I'm pretty sure they're all fanatics still.
That was kind of a cool scene because like it was like the World War II kind of thing. Where like
Yeah.
kind of like that, but the whole thing with C-3PO, I cannot be permitted to read Seth text, whatever. But the majority of like fucking
But then-
all the movies, like the Sith don't exist. They're like the Sith. There's no the Sith.
It was like, what is it? The Maul was the first one in 1,000 years.
Like yeah, like
Or something.
and Anakin built him. I mean, so like
Yeah.
3PO, you're not gonna read the Sith text later.
Yeah, it could have been done during the service. But
Yeah,
updated
like
them.
when they went into the
So they
rebellion.
just upgraded that.
I guess,
Because
maybe.
he helped, Padme, he was working with Padme.
So Robert Freak was
Oh,
good.
then I hate that they got rid of his red arm.
Oh yeah, someone died for that arm.
Yeah.
Scarlett, over there, please. With that's too loud.
And then all of a sudden, it's just back to normal.
So
Original
remember?
one.
Because it doesn't matter. Anything outside the movies don't matter.
But no, okay, but the thing is, when you think about Star Wars, it's not just movies, it's games, it's TV shows. It is a whole thing. So yes, the other books, they should matter, they should tie in.
But the
It's a
movies
whole
don't.
extended universe.
Yes, it's...
But I'm sorry. Why I said that wrong? It does matter to us, not to Disney. All that stuff we're talking about, like Austin brings up good points. This is what the book says. But the books also said a bunch of stuff that the movies were like, nah. It's not relevant anymore. Like I mentioned, Poe, his parents were both in the army, and he was like groomed for army, and that's why he was so good. He was always like that. But now he's a scoundrel. Now he's a smuggler that fucking.
But I
helps
don't think
people.
that can't coexist. Like, because his parents, when did they die? Probably when he was young, right? Or when
Oh, man.
he got separated from his parents young. So he probably could have went wayward and then came back to the rebellion of the story.
It's
So
Right.
it's like Han Solo didn't start off as a scoundrel. He was an orphan who then joined the fighter,
He
the
became a
army,
Nazi.
the
That's
Imperial
worse.
Army, and then he came back and was like, no, fuck you guys.
That's worse. He was an orphan that stole, and then he went to join the Nazis, and then he went to become a smuggler again. So like his story arc isn't that good either.
But he was a thief. Wasn't he part of that little guild of thieves?
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought it up because you know what? Again, Solo ruins the Han Solo character because remember the whole point of New Hope was like, I don't want to be part of this. And then he dips his toe into it and he likes it. But according to Solo, he's always been dipping his toe into it. So his character, I don't like Solo either.
I
Respect to Disney for respecting the Me Too movement by having Dio, the little robot. Don't touch me. Don't touch. Like you didn't ask for permission, right? So it's like they know. So
I mean, there's a lesbian kiss at the end. Isn't it?
yeah, there is one like really blink if you missed it, but they edited it out like in China, so
Yeah.
they put it to the side. So like and they're patting themselves on the back foot, but man, fuck you, Disney. They do that. They're freaking like with Frozen 2. There's like a little lesbian like, but they cut it out like for other markets. So it's like that's why they put it to the side, or it's not an important scene. They haven't kissed him like right there inside, but they edited it out in the
Yeah,
China
they-
version. So
After they won.
in
they
Frozen,
cheered.
wait, in Frozen 2 or in the...
and this one too. In Frozen 2, there's that girl that talks to Anna. It's implied that she's a lesbian or something like that, but they cut out that scene entirely. in other places. So.
I'm sure I didn't even,
We're talking about
I didn't even know. But okay, again, whole other discussion. Going back to Star Wars.
R2D2 was useless. I can't say anything good about him.
R2D2, BB-8, and
It was a
C-3PO.
standby, yeah. Until they need it all convinced. Oh yeah, you know what? C-3PO, I have a backup for you.
C-3PO was goodness, but he was totally out of character because the actor who plays C-3PO is Anthony Daniels. He's a piece of shit for 1 year. All the time throughout the movies, he's always told the directors like, I want to do this, like I want to save the day, and I think everyone's telling like you're a fucking wimp. Your character is a little bitch. Your character is not the hero. So I guess it's time to like, well, you're like the last living actor I think besides Luke Skywalker. We'll let you have your moment. So you got to be a hero in this one. You have to have jokes written for him specifically by Ben Schwartz.
That's something I was going to ask. Who writes the script? Is it like a full team?
Reddit writes the scripts.
Alright, so
What do the fans want? Ben and Kiss.
So,
Okay.
But then again, they didn't give us Ben shirtless in the song, so they kind of.
That's true. I want Ben Solo.
okay, so I think we're dwindling down, so let's just do final points. And I think
Bye.
good. And let's start with Charles. Final points. Final. And finito. Final. I don't know any other language.
Were you talking about Rose?
No. The Rose doesn't exist.
According to this movie, she doesn't. I feel bad for her because like she got so much shit for the last movie. And it's like, I understand you don't like her character. Her character's useless, by the way. But people were going after her looks like, you're a fat Asian, blah, blah, blah. And
Oh, yeah.
they were going after her looks, and it's like, there's not a lot of Asians in Star Wars. And then let's reward the fans by like not having her do anything. I think they asked her, you want to come with this?
She's like, I'm
I'll
free.
pay for something.
Okay, so final points.
Phasma? I think me and Austin were talking about like Phasma should have come back because they wasted their character. Everyone at the end should have their own villain. Was Rey and Kylo should have had like the Palpatine. Phasma should have been Finn's bad guy. I don't know what Poe should have had. Poe should have had Hux at the end.
Oh my
Hux.
god.
His character was useless. After Last Jedi, his character was useless. His character like lost.
That was
his-
my favorite scene in Last Jedi though. So like anyone there, General Hux and tried to speak to him.
That was bad. You like
hear
that?
me? I thought it was hilarious.
So you can't. That phone bits don't work in space.
It was, you know what? I think that's why it was so ridiculous that it worked for me.
I hated it so much.
But it was also very Marvel.
Exactly.
It was very
Exactly.
Marvel.
They made his character a joke, and not like the first movie with Hux, where like they were equal. Like even though you're a freaking Force user, like I don't take your shit. They were like equal. There was like mutual respect, kind of like that. He became a joke character. That's why they killed him off and replaced him with another one.
Why? Just say hi to the puppy. Okay, Charles, do you have your 5 point?
Just that this trilogy isn't really necessary for you to see it. You can just watch the other 6, the other 2 trilogies.
And Rogue One.
And
And
then
the
the last season of Clone Wars.
Oh, it's still going on, right?
It's
Yeah, they
coming.
brought it back.
Whoa, hi.
And, yeah, I mean, just
Hello.
watch Mandalorian for your Star Wars six that you need, but you know it's very unnecessary. These movies are.
Okay, Austin, your 5 point.
Let's see.
Puppy.
Big puppy.
Can you explain Austin?
Why they don't
What
have
happened?
reach
What was the
watch
story for Another Time with the lightsaber?
Another time.
Remember Mascanata was like, how'd you get this lightsaber that my dad had? And it's like, for another time. They never explained it, right?
Wait.
Anakin's blue lightsaber.
Oh,
They never
the
explained it,
orange
right?
Girl. Yeah, no. I think they said there was a deleted scene with like his hand gripping the lightsaber and like she finds it in space. But
She was like they put her in like the old movies?
no, in in Force Awakens, there was a deleted scene where, because you know the way that lightsaber got lost was Luke's hand. There was a deleted scene, I guess, with Luke's hand like floating around in space with the lightsaber, and she found it. Literally, that was it. They took that out.
I feel like Cloud
But-
City.
It was hilarious.
They would have.
Yeah,
well,
well, it's true. It's Cloud City. What's in the bottom of Cloud City? Nothing. It's all gas. I guess it would fall I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all gas, so I guess it'll go through space. I don't know. We're asking tough questions that no one, Disney doesn't have the balls to answer.
Alright, so
I don't know if I agree with the like it's like unnecessary. I personally like the whole story in of itself. Like there is a purpose to the trilogy as far as like especially the whole Palpatine thing coming full circle with the cloning. It finally gives him like what's the word? Validation in his whole quest to like understand the secrets to immortality through the dark side. Like it kindly like that was kind of the purpose of the Rise of Skywalker, to show like Palpatine really was trying to do all this and was trying to become immortal, and through his power like almost achieved it. But and again, I do like the storyline with Ben. I like how he came full circle with his grandfather.
Did you like the scene with Han Solo?
No.
Yeah, I love that. That was I like legit almost cried with the whole like, Dad, I know that I love you. I know it was the hidden I love you. I know. I freaking love that.
I did love that he's just like it's the same line like I know what I have to do, I just don't know how I have the strength. I did love that this time it wasn't about hurting someone, it was about just helping and just accepting that you weren't the dark side. It's just not for you. Accepting like the good and the light. I think I do like that.
So you think so? Sorry. Do you think Luke should have been in that scene too, or should there have been a scene with him and Luke? Because the whole thing with Ben, like they're wrapping up all the storylines, but he never got closure with Luke. Luke's like, see you around, kid, but that never panned out.
Well, I'm sure we'll get that closure now that he's part of the Force. Yeah, like
but they didn't show him at the end though with the Skywalker.
They didn't show him as a ghost, but he evaporated just like Yoda, just like Obi-Wan. He became one with the Force. So that's that see you around. Like I'm sure they'll see him on the other side. But
hey, but you know what? Palpatine died that way too. Palpatine disappeared into the Force too.
But I mean, his body was also deteriorating.
Yeah, his that was like his last clone of himself, and he wanted to again transfer himself into, instead of a deteriorating clone body, he wanted to essence transfer himself into Rey, but was not able to do that. And when you try to transfer essence yourself into somebody and their will is strong and it fails, like the legends say, then your soul, your essence becomes trapped in a dark void for all this eternity.
Like the Grudge.
And that's like all of the Jedi made sure that happened, that he wasn't able to get into Rey's.
We didn't really talk about that, but do you guys like the way he died? Like the same way, like with the little. You liked it?
I liked how it was Palpatine dead, Rey dead, balance. So like the last of the Jedi, the last of the Sith, and then the Force came to balance, and then Ben came back and gave his life for Rey so that she could live on.
Well, I meant like him dying by electricity again, or like.
Oh, wait,
he fell for the same trick.
He fell for the same trick.
You should have said unlimited power. Did he say unlimited power? I don't remember.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm thinking.
Maybe,
I hope he did.
wait a minute.
Maybe you just said it in her head.
Unlimited power.
I don't think he did.
He should have said it. But I thought it was dumb because I always thought that in the original trilogy, like, the reason why he let himself get hurt that way was so Anakin could step in and kill Windu. Because he was playing weak. I'm weak.
Yeah.
He was doing that. So it seemed like he was just stupid. He just didn't know how to stop. I don't know.
But,
Okay.
so,
Puppy.
One over there, go get him.
Right, do you like Kylo better than Darth Vader?
better than Darth Vader?
No.
I like anybody better.
No,
than Darth Vader.
nobody's contesting that. Nobody's
Yeah.
saying that. Who on the internet is saying that so I can
Alright.
find them? Like, no.
Better question. Do you like Ben Solo better than Anakin Skywalker?
No, Anakin
No,
Skywalker
I
is
mean-
like my favorite character in the movie trilogy. I mean, in the movie trilogies.
There's only one line people have a problem with, okay? There's only one line. Other than that,
Which
he's
one?
the sand.
Oh,
That's
No, the sand line.
That's the only thing.
Told me, like-
When everyone talks about his performance, I just hear about the sand thing. I'm like, okay, that's one line.
There's one
Everything
line.
else is pretty good. But like, he was also trying to like flirt. So he was an awkward 18, 20 year old?
I don't know.
He was 20, because he was 10 and it's 10 years later, so he's 20. An awkward 20-year-old trying to flirt with some like super pretty girl. Like, I understand maybe the line was gonna be weird.
I think this movie also mentioned God, right? They mentioned God in Star Wars, I believe.
Isn't the Force? Isn't that what it?
There's some kind of dagger.
Yeah, well, yeah, they mentioned God, right? And then supposedly, it goes back to Phantom Menace, so it's like, are you an angel? So there's religion.
No. There's angels on a planet. Like that's
Yeah.
what they're. It's a
They're
species.
like a species.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, I remember that line too. It was like that he saw a pilot who went to this planet and like he saw they were the most beautiful creatures in the universe. So it's a species.
He wasn't born. They're natural means. But if you guys know a better line or a worse line from Hayden Christensen, mention
Put it in the comments. Aside from the sand
I'm
one,
pretty sure there's more.
I don't think so. Like from Hayden Christensen specifically, and also remember the lines are not his fault. He didn't write them.
Hey, but you know what? Evan McGregor sold them. Christopher Lee sold them. So.
But I mean, who can sell that line?
I'm pretty sure Evan McGregor could sell that line about sand. I'm pretty sure.
Something I would love to see.
I'm trying to
How
remember.
this just became a whole thread off of.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to think of lines from like Attack of the Clones.
Okay, we can do that like at the end right now. But give your final point.
Mine? That's been. My whole point is the movie sucks. Ruined the whole fucking trilogy. I kid you not. I saw the movie and I was like, I think I'm done with Star Wars. It ruined.
That's what I was saying. You can't rewatch these. There's no point of rewatching.
Exactly. Nailed
There's
it.
rewatch value in these. I could watch the other 6 over and over
Yeah.
again.
You like Game of Thrones. It's gonna be really, really hard for you to watch that show.
I did that. I rewatched it.
It's hard.
I'm literally on the episode when she destroys everything, and I'm like, I can't do it.
It's hard.
I can't watch. I'm sitting like my queue on my Hulu or whatever. It's like you're missing 3 more episodes. 2 more episodes. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that.
It's like when you can think of better stuff or like epic stuff in your head that doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
It's just disappointing. It's like I'm making meatloaf. Well, your meatloaf sucks. So it's like that's what you gotta look forward to. It's like I'll watch it again just to hate watch it. I'll watch it again to hate watch it. That's what I do.
I make it a drinking.
I am just not one of the fans that like looks for something I want to see in it. I appreciate it for what it is, and if it's a good story, then I like it. And even if it's not necessarily something I would have written myself.
No, I get that. Totally understand that.
I wish I had your goggles and stuff. I watch movies and it's like, it's just stupid. Where lights keep. Oh, they fly now! I remember that. I'm like,
Who?
that's stupid. Like the stormtroopers are flying, right?
Oh.
They fly now. They fly now. They fly now.
Oh, the
Finn will
jetpack?
know that. Finn knows. They've always had jetpacks. They've had jetpacks what since.
Yeah, this is
Well, okay.
Mandalorian.
I mean, the books mention it, the games mention it, but I guess the movies don't, right? We're doing the whole thing with the
They're
movies,
Mandalorian clones. They would use them all the time.
right?
It was like they had a test to do where they received it, because you had the other ones in the Clone Wars, the jetpacks and everything. It was there. They've been around.
Ooh, and then I'm remembering the Star Destroyers now that they're all fucking Death Stars now. Fucking, if I remember correctly, when they made the second Death Star, like they harvested all the kyber crystals. They're super rare now, but every fucking there's Death Star in every Star Destroyer. I guess they miniaturized the fucking engines or the carbines. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Because that's what they had a Death Star, because the freaking stuff couldn't support it. But every fucking thing's a Death Star now. I don't know.
Like, why can't you just move them out?
It's stupid.
You should have moved them out one by one. You know, you set up your chessboard, and you just
I've had them on standby. I've had this the entire time, but I waited.
there's one little thing if it doesn't go right, we can't leave. We're
I
fucking
mean, because
stuck
all he
here.
really cared about was himself. As long as that was his priority, was to sustain himself, not to just like.
They were more
kill
of a
the whole
bargain.
galaxy.
I feel like
They wanna
those
make
were more
him
of a
free.
bargaining chip for
You might
Kylo.
have a first order.
Secret fleet, another secret fleet.
I have a secret organization, but I also have another secret organization.
Hey,
That's bigger
It's
and
called having a
powerful than
backup.
the first one.
So, I don't even know what I'm doing. The writers don't know what they're doing.
Sir, you guys using costumes and character next
I
time.
feel like they rushed up this movie and it's like all this shit we can't explain, put it in the book.
Yeah, just retcon it.
Right?
People hate it, we'll fix it.
Alright, so my final point, aside from that I love Star Wars as a whole, I do, and I can rewatch these movies. That's what people say, I can. No, they're not as good to me as the original and the prequel trilogy. I think there was a lot of mistakes made, specifically on the fact that they didn't know where the story was going to go. Because even though, George Lucas said this before, New Hope was originally just Star Wars. It was going to be a one-off. It was just going to be one movie, which is why at the end of New Hope, it's very like Grand West. They got their medals. Dun, dun, dun. They're just spitting out. He can be dead. Yeah, why
last movie.
Yeah, Chewie
got
He did get a medal in the books. He got a medal in the books, but in the movie he gets his own medal, which is
You
bullshit.
can see my eyes.
So again, the books don't matter because he got his fucking medal before. He got his medal, and this one they gave it to him. This one, so books don't matter.
Alright, so I was pointing out that the end of New Hope of Star Wars was very grandiose because that was supposed to be the end. However, when they told him we're going to give you more, he had a plan for both.
Yeah.
Not a plan for one, plan for both. And he did this, George Lucas, sorry. He did the same thing for the prequels. So when you watch the prequels, things that happened in the first one, they make sense in the last one. It's all tied together.
Yeah.
So I feel that the only real critique that I think is what, it's like the basis of the problem, was they didn't have a thorough line. They didn't have a plan for each of them set up from the beginning. So it kind of jumbled things when Ryan Johnson went in there and he was like, so I can pretty much do what I want, all right. And he did what he wanted. And though we got a really good film that would have worked really well as its own thing, it messed with the overarching story. And I think that's what I feel is the main issue. But aside from that, I loved the characters. No, I do not think they're as developed as other characters in the series, but I did.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's arguing that.
Yeah,
but
like-
they are.
I said they're garbage. I said that. I said the characters are useless. This movie, like,
Because it's like you said with the, like, yeah, he went off, tried to do this whole thing, you know, they regretted it, so they try to recon the movie that just came out, and it killed all the characters. You want these characters taking a backseat now. They're not so important. They're now useless. And it's just like a specific plot thing that we need them for. Other than that, like, the damage is done, and now we just gotta
what's
ignore
Finn's
it.
arc? What's Finn's arc? Finn is what?
Yeah.
I'm with my best friend.
Yeah, he was helpful, he knew stuff, and all of a sudden, he
Poe.
doesn't even know what he wants himself at that point.
He should have been the
I
face of
don't think he was in
resistance.
love with her, and now he just keeps this good.
But he just wants to tell her. That's his main issue is like his new arc is I need to tell her something that I'm force sensitive.
I really
I
don't think
see
it's what it was.
But then
Or he's gay or something, right? Have the balls to do it, Disney.
I
Tell
see
him
it
he's gay.
as like he was like a tool of the Force. He was a utility in putting all this into motion.
So black people are to be used as tools.
Not neat.
As so with Lando, his point was to gather the army at the end, and he's out.
Okay, to finish my point.
We're
To
gonna get
finish
racist.
my point, they're a lot of fun. I love the expansion of the lore. I personally loved the whole pulling things through the Force thing. I thought that was a really good introduction. A really good thing to introduce, right? You always want more. You want to know more about the world. And something that even though where everyone has mixed feelings about it, I do like that the Skywalker story is pretty much done. Because there is just so much to Star Wars, and a lot of it, for us, it came from reading the books. And even though a lot of it is non-canon, it is such a big world, there's a lot of lore to it. There's a lot that goes on before the original saga, after, during, in another section. There's just so much going on. And
Please make a Knights of the Old Republic.
please make an extra for yes.
No, tired of Jedi's. We need to focus on the criminal element. Let's have a Goodfellas, but sit on Tatooine with
I'm
Jabba.
just saying, Mandalorian is the perfect example of what you can do with this world that has nothing to do with the original saga, because Mandalorian, it's a western, it's a legit
But
western.
they also pay homage to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make references. They respect. The
Yeah, it's
lore.
like we all in the same universe, but we got nothing to do with them, kind of thing. So I would love to see a Star Wars horror movie. I would love a
that'd be
Star Wars
so
horror
cool.
movie.
Dude, Ewoks.
You are.
A couple of campers.
Alright, but just you can pretty much do any genre in a world as big as Star Wars. So I'm excited for that. That's my problem. I'm excited for what else they can do. And Disney, for the love of God, please don't make it all for kids.
Mr. Smith goes
You
to
own a
Washington,
lot now.
but with the
Rated
Senate.
R movies. But yeah, Star Wars horror movies, I think awesome.
A horror movie?
A horror movie.
I think the one horror element that they've done is probably like Darth Vader at the end of Rogue One. That's the closest you're gonna get to horror.
Well,
That was
such a
good
cool
with those.
scene.
God, it was
That
like
was the best scene in the whole movie.
that was like that reminder, like who's Darth Vader, and they show it to you, and you're like,
So that's how the whole movie him killing people.
Yeah, like, that end scene was way better than Red Skywalker.
Yeah, that's that 1 5 minutes, yeah. Because you know what? It respected the trilogy. You know why? Because they freaking leave right with the plans. You see Darth Vader like, okay. So if you watch like New Hope right after that, it's almost hilarious because it's like, what are you guys doing? We're on a diplomatic mission. It's like, motherfucker, I just saw you. Yeah. See, like, it pays respect. See, they tie together. The original, I can't read Rise of Skywalker. I can't. The new trilogy is tying to. I can't think of anything it ties into.
all right, well, I'm gonna have to cut it because, as you can see,
Rogue
the
One.
gremlins are needy. So thank you guys so much for doing this talk. It was a lot of fun. Please tell us if there's other ones. We're just coming up with random things to talk about. But if you guys have any ideas on our Instagrams or our YouTubes or whatever, let us know and we'll definitely try to make that happen.
Or-
We got nothing but time.
Or on this video, you know, just tell us what was your favorite, what was the thing.
Who you agree with?
It's like, I don't believe that. This thing didn't ruin anything of you. Like, it's hard to
Some
believe.
people like it.
No, like, because there's things you like, and then all of a sudden, oh, they ruined that for me.
So I agree with
It's like-
Austin. I agree with what that guy said.
I don't think it ruined the movie, any of the things for me. I agree that there was things that shouldn't have been done, could have been done better, but I don't think it ruined.
Yeah, no, that's where.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing for you, like that you felt like, oh, you know what, I didn't like they did that.
He needs to see it again. He's only seen it one time.
Oh.
We've all only seen it one time.
Yeah,
How many
I've seen it twice.
Okay.
So I saw it and that was okay. I mean, I saw it and I was like, again, I was stupid blinded by all this stuff because, like I said,
It's a
this doesn't
nostalgia
make
thing.
if there's something in your face like that's clutch. But then I think about it. I had to see it again. And I was like, this movie is it doesn't hold up.
Hang on, Scarlett.
So
Hang
I
on, Scarlett.
don't know when you're gonna release this video. I do know that it's coming out on Blu-ray on March 31st.
Yeah, and on digital the 17th. I'll be releasing it probably a week before.
There you go.
Alright,
So
so
don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
I hate doing this part.
Is that the theme with the bell?
Yeah.
Get notified.
See a little bell? Click it.
I never do that.
I don't know how to do that self-sponsorship
We gotta
stuff. I
add
wish
reaction
I did.
faces to the
Okay,
Right.
so, alright, so thank you guys. This was
many
Lady
minutes.
Lily, Cinemanny, we're staying with Charles,
Yeah.
and Austin. Respectively, Austin does have, do you still, a YouTube channel? Do you still have a YouTube channel? You active?
Oh, I'm going to make a new one. I'm going to make a music channel. soon.
Patreon.
Alright, cool. So look out for that because he's going to have a music channel.
Yeah.
Alright,
Stay
so.
tuned for my OnlyFans.
Okay, and that is the bell of we're done. I'll be that we're done.
I felt like that too after I saw Rise of Skywalker.
She wanted to read that comment.
I was like, they ruined
Okay.
it.
Alright, I'll be putting all our links in the section below. So, mwah! Bye guys!
Bye.